Hello, Marks. Lyssie and Dylan here talking about wrestling. That's why the podcast is called Talkin Wrasslin. We're going to talk about wrestling. Some of it. A lot of it. Maybe just a little bit of it. I don't know. We're definitely getting into some sort of debate here. We definitely have a couple different opinions in some things we discuss in this episode. What it's about, I don't know. You're going to have to just figure out as you listen to this. Who's the host and who's the co-host? We don't know. We're never going to know. But it's probably me today because I'm doing the intro. I think that's kind of how we do things here. Anyway, let's talk about wrestling. All right. We're here. We're queer. We're ready to talk about some wrestling.
You said it, not me. You're allowed to anyway.
Hey guys, how are ya? How you doing?
They can't talk back to us.
They can in the comments. Let us know how you're doing in the comments. We're starting off chaotic as fuck. That means that I am the host. Lyssie is the host this week. Hello. Here with my co-host of the week, Dylan.
Just the week.
Huh?
Just this week.
Just this week.
Just this week.
Just this week.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Hi.
How you doing, Dylan?
I'm all right.
Wanna have anything interesting you want to talk about?
I don't know. We're doing this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm still have not gotten any better at this hosting shtick. So let's just give you a rundown about what we're going to be talking about this week. And then I guess for this episode, and I guess we'll go into what has gone on this week in our personal lives. If anything, much worth of speaking about. So, we're going to talk about a couple things, not necessarily any sort of wrestling news type of thing, more so about, the documentaries. We've been catching up on the Legends documentaries as well as, of course, Dark Side of the Ring, every week. Gonna go into a tiny little bit of wrestling news. Again, there's not a whole hell of a lot. We just have a couple points here we want to discuss. A singular thing on Raw.
Yeah.
One singular thing on Raw. Couple things from Dynamite. We are going to be talking about some matches from one match from WrestleMania 1 and WrestleMania 10, and then we'll get into the Wrestler of the Week. But again, before going about any of that, Dylan, how was your week?
It was pretty good.
Any sort of interesting, exciting things you'd like to tell our 10 viewers about?
I bought a Flying Brian Pillman figure.
Mm-hmm. You're always buying something.
An Owen Hart Hasbro. And a Dan Townsend figure. And made some guy shut up because he was trying to be a typical wrestling fan. And I absolutely was just not having his shit.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I bought the Dan Townsend figure and the Flying Brian from the same store. And I bought myself a WWF shirt. It has the Ultimate Warrior on it, Roddy Piper, Jake the Snake, Big Boss Man, and the Hart Foundation. It caught my eye. It was only $10, and I was like, I actually like all these guys, including the Ultimate Warrior. So fuck it. And and plus I said to myself, I need a Golden Age WWF shirt or like a New Generation WWF shirt, and I got a Golden Age one. So here we are. But so I had the shirt and the Flying Brian in my hand. And I go up to the lady, and I was like, I also want the Dan Townsend figure that's on the wall. And she was like, okay. And they get it down for me, and this guy just goes, and this whole time he was making comments, the whole time in the store, where he was like, they make AEW figures? And when I said I want the Dan Townsend figure, he was like, you like AEW? And I was like, yeah, I also like WWF, held up the shirt, and I also like WCW and held up Brian Pillman. And mind you, I'm wearing an ECW hoodie and a New Japan joggers. I look like a fucking mark right off the bat. And he just shut up immediately after that. I was like, I want to knock your teeth down your throat, like, so fucking bad.
Everyone always wants to make fun of the Just Enjoy Wrestling crowd so much.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. I feel like we should be making fun of the people we shouldn't be making fun of people, actually. That's probably not the best thing to be saying. But,
it's not nice to bully people.
It's not nice to bully people, sure. Unless it's your local government. But,
yeah.
Everybody wants to, make fun of the Just Enjoy Wrestling, and they're always, the Just Enjoy Wrestling crowd is always the crowd that is like the happiest. Because they don't give two single goddamn fucks. They're just like, I'm here for a fucking good time. I'm gonna like what I like. Don't like what I don't like, but that's fine because I'm liking what I'm liking. And everybody wants to like pick on these people. Just like, well, how dare you enjoy what you want to enjoy?
Like,
and
it's not even that. I was like, why do you even care what I'm buying, bro?
Yeah, like, I don't know you.
Yeah, like,
I don't fucking know you.
Like, bro, let me buy my fucking Brian Pillman and fucking Dan Townsend, goddammit.
I'm gonna go home and make them kiss.
No, I did other things. I took a picture because I already had a stunning Steve, so I needed a flying Brian. So I got the Hollywood Blondes finally. So that collection is complete. And I also have a loose cannon Brian and a 316 Austin. So it's like, that's all complete and everything. But I already had a Danhausen, but it was the ringside collectible. I kept that in box. I took out this Danhausen and I did a really cool photo. We can probably I'll send it to Lissy. We can put it up here. It's Danhausen cursing Jim Cornette.
See, what Dylan doesn't know when he's at work and I'm home alone, I go and I make his Young Bucks figures kiss his Jim Cornette figures on the mouth.
Where are my Young Bucks figures at?
They are in the pile of the loose figures.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they are.
Yeah, they're like...
Because I don't think you have them set up. Because Nick is broken.
Nick is broken.
Nick's fucking... Is his ponytail still on the counter?
I put it in the bag over there.
Okay, yeah, his ponytail broke off, which is why you don't take figures out of the box.
Nah, I don't give a fuck.
But we still need to get those same figures again, because they're Series 2?
Yeah.
They're the Series 2 Young Bucks figures with the I don't know if it's necessarily the Golden Lovers gear, but I like to call it that because it's got the blue, the white, and the gold on it and everything. And those are the only ones we have that aren't in box because somebody took them out of the box. So we need to get them again so we can have them in the box. And they'll be mine so I can complete my collection. But, yeah, anything else fun, interesting happen for your week?
I don't recall.
No?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think too much crazy has happened during my week. It was a weird week at work. So I work Tuesday through Saturdays, and the Tuesday and Wednesday. So I for those of you who don't know, which I'm not going to go too crazy into detail, of course, of my location, but I work at a tattoo shop, and, you know, I'm just like the desk person that does like the booking appointments and whatnot.
Do you do tattoos?
Do I do tattoos? The amount of times I get that question walking, because some people will come in and they'll be like, oh, I'm interested in getting a tattoo. And I'm like, okay, you know, like, what are you looking to get done? Because typically, if they have some reference photos, I can see what they're looking to do and direct them to an artist that I think will see fit. Like, you know, if they're looking for something realism, we got a guy for that. If they're looking for something traditional, we got a guy for that, you know, like, so it's pretty easy, unless it's kind of like, no disrespect, no tea, no shade when I say this, unless it's kind of like the run-of-the-mill Pinterest tattoo that, like, really anyone can do. Like, that's, I hate to say the word basic, but, like, isn't something elaborate, you know what I mean? And that's kind of like, okay, well, did you have an artist in mind? No. When were you looking to come in? I could find you the soonest availability, and we could kind of go from there type of thing. Or, like, you'll try and send them to look at the portfolios and like, yeah, everyone's good. I don't really care. And it's like, God fucking damn it, give me a name. But... See,
I have an easy in when I'm like, Lissy, I want a tattoo.
Yeah, and I'm like, you're going to this person.
Yeah, who should I go to? Like, I don't know.
This person.
This is what I want done.
But, yeah, so that's what I do, basically. That's my job. And, Tuesday, 3 people were out. 3 people are out of work. One of our artists was on vacation. She came back, like, towards the end of the week. So she was out on vacation. Our other artist has a second job and is on and off every Tuesday, so he was out. And then the apprentice, who I love so near and dear and I will marry, she was sick. So there was me, the piercer, my boss, and one of the artists. And me and the piercer typically get there super fucking early, and we'll just kind of like fuck around, hang out outside of the building, waiting to get let in, and just chit chat and whatever. And our boss pulls up, and we're like, what? He's never here this early. Like, what the fuck? So he pulls up and he's like, hey, we're going to lock the tattoo side, and Lissy, you're gonna go over on the piercing side, because it's separated. You're gonna come over on the piercing side, and do desk over there today, and we're just gonna lock this artist in, and he'll be fine. And then the same thing happened on Tuesday. Our one artist that worked the second job, he was back, but the apprentice was sick again, and our one artist was still on vacation. So then I got pulled back over to the piercing side again. So, which is fine and dandy. Like, I don't mind where I'm working at. It is what it is. But it wasn't crazy busy. So I was spending a lot of time drawing in my sketchbook, which I started and decided that I'm going to try and finish a sketchbook for the first time in a few years, because typically I just do digital artwork. So I had this sketchbook that I bought for the Secret Santa we did last year at work, for a flash sheet that I made for my boss, because I got him for Secret Santa. And I was like, well, shit, now I don't know what to do with this completely empty sketchbook. As an artist, I have no clue what I do with a sketchbook. What do I do with traditional art mediums? And I'm like, shit, wait, I could just draw. I could just draw in it, I guess. Which is a little scary, because I've been doing traditional artwork for a while now. I haven't really picked up traditionally again, so I thought that I was going to be ruined because of doing digital for so long. But I'm doing all right, I think. So that's exciting for me. Aside from that, nothing overly crazy. My Walmart exclusive Young Bucks figures have not been canceled yet, so that's always some good news. And I recently took the Sanoderm off of my tattoos that I got done last week. So yeah, that's about where we're at. Yeah, I don't think I bought anything this week to really rain home and about. I bought some food. That was about it.
Look at a young JR.
Oh yeah, we have Mid-South on in the background.
Yeah, we got Mid-South Wrestling on in the background. We're just watching Mid-South.
But yeah, enough of that, I guess. Enough of me talking about my job and sketchbooking. And let's just get into the action, I guess. And to start with that, we're going to start off with the Dark Side of the Ring episode on Terry Gordy. Dylan, I'm going to ask you to hand me my coffee right now, and for you to take the reins to start with this, because I'm going to be so fucking honest with you. The amount of content that we have been watching. We watched Quiet on Set. That was fucked up.
Yeah.
With the amount of...
Fuck Dan Schneider and that other guy.
Brian Peck.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the amount of content we have consumed, I'm going to be very honest with you. This was on Tuesday, and I already forget. So I need you to start talking about it so I can remember.
Terry Bam Bam Gordy from the Freebirds.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What a crazy fucking life he had.
Yes. Talk about it. Please remind me, because I have no idea what we're talking about.
What a crazy life he had of... He lived that rock and roll lifestyle, that wrestling lifestyle, and he was on an airplane ride and he OD'd.
Yes. And he was never the same.
And it was never the same after that.
That's correct.
Terry was there, but he wasn't.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I'm remembering now. Yeah. I don't mean to be disrespectful about it at all. It's just quite literally my memory is terrible. And again, with the amount of documentaries and stuff we've been consuming this week, it's all been a blur. Yeah. No, that was, because again, like when we talk about it every week, like going into Dark Side of the Ring, there's very few stories that I know. And honestly, as the seasons have gone later and later, there are less names that I recall, because a lot of the times it's going way back in the day when things were fucking crazy, and I have not a clue who any of these people fucking are.
Love it. Love that type of wrestling.
So going into Dark Side of the Ring, I don't really ever know a whole lot about what's going on.
Magnum TA.
I fucking love Magnum TA. I wish I was Magnum TA. What a fucking guy. Like... He looks like a buff version of the barista that makes my coffee really good. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, that is the guy that makes my coffee fucking banging, is just like a thinner Magnum TA. But yeah, no, it was on it. Like, obviously it was very sad, but it's so fucking scary, dude. Like, yeah. And it wasn't even like, obviously accidents can happen in the ring that alter your life and your career forever. And it's just so scary that, like, something like the overdose and whatnot, as it's common knowledge that can shape your life, change your life forever. But to the degree, like, again, I don't know if they ever if they really necessarily specifically went into it. I I think it was actually Cornette that was on the episode that said, like, I don't remember, like, what the whole doctors and medical terminology was, and if it was just, like, lack of oxygen to the brain, but it just, like, completely reshifted him as a person.
Yeah, he was in a coma, and he came out of the coma, and he was just completely, he wasn't there.
And it's so sad. Like, I really don't know what else to say about it. Just, like, it was so fucking sad, because obviously
what a great wrestler.
Yeah, like, they showed video of him prior to and then afterwards, and
you could tell.
It might have honestly been Cornette that said it too, of just, like, he was just like a hollow shell.
Well, yeah, when he was working in Smoky Mountain, the boys would be going over their spots and everything, and he would go up the corny and be like, "Hey, Jim," and he'd be like, "Yeah, want me to do the power bomb tonight?" And, like, it
wasn't like
it just wasn't
nothing
registering.
was clicking.
Yeah,
it
just wasn't registering.
It's just.
But he knew enough of, like, getting in that ring of, like, this is what I need to do.
He was, because he was able to essentially be retaught everything, but it just wasn't the same.
It just wasn't the same
behind it. You know what I mean? Which
he was wrestling since he was 14, which is crazy.
And I mean, Foley was in it and was talking about his match with him, the death match.
Yeah.
And he was like, that was like the one time that I felt like he was kind of back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that sucks. And like, and him even saying at like the smaller shows that he was at, and Foley would be like at the table signing autographs. There would be lines up for Foley, and Terry Gordy would be in the ring, and there'd be like only like a couple people going up for photos, and he's like wants to just scream at people of like, that's a fucking legend right there.
Yeah. Like,
go to him. Like,
and it's sad. I've seen it. I've seen stories not only of like, oh, legend, like Virgil, like everyone laughed about like the whole Virgil thing and whatnot, but I've heard stories, I've seen it, and I've seen where like
it's still such a sad photograph though.
I've seen like I've seen wrestlers break down in person. I've seen them, like, their bodies just break down where 1 week they're at their peak, and then the next week it's like, what happened?
Well, the thing is, you could even look at it as like, and obviously this was well over time, but like, as people get older, stuff like this is going to happen anyway. But like, and again, this is absolute no disrespect. I love them. They're definitely on my tag team Mount Rushmore. But like the Hardys, like, they are nowhere near the same as what they were going to be. And of course, that's putting your body through the business as long as you do. And, you're getting older and everything like that. But it's kind of one of those things of like, sure, would I like to see them back in WWE, get in the Hall of Fame and retire? And they're not in the Hall of Fame, right?
No, not yet.
No, okay, yeah, get in the Hall of Fame
not
and
yet.
Retire in WWE and everything. Yeah, of course I would. But also it's like, I don't want that. Like, they're clearly not the same. They can't move the same. And it's one of those things where it's just like, I'm happy that you guys are still doing what you love, but also I'm kind of scared because your bodies are clearly showing that they can't keep up anymore, and I'm scared something's going to happen.
Yeah. And
especially with the unfortunate past history that Jeff has had, like, I don't want to see him fall down the rabbit hole again. And, it's not as exciting. And I hate to say that. That sounds so mean. Like, it was actually almost to the day last year that I ended up meeting Matt Hardy. And, I got to tell him, like, I loved watching you as a kid. Me and my brother used to, like, well, I sent it in as, like, not necessarily a question, but something I just wanted to, like, say that ended up on his podcast of, like, me and my brother used to pretend to be the Hardy Boys and wrestle, like, stuffed animals and stuff. And, I was Matt, he was Jeff. And because I always preferred Matt Hardy over Jeff, which is astonishing to so many people. But I don't know. I liked Matt Hardy a lot. No tea to Jeff. Loved Jeff Hardy. But I was always drawn to Matt a little bit more. So I was always Matt. My brother was always Jeff and everything like that. And he was such a nice guy. Like, it was so nice to meet him and everything. And like, but it's hard now as an adult watching them not be the same. And it's just like, I don't know. It kind of gives that little bit of a sad feeling of just like, yeah, dude, my childhood's grown up. and that sucks. But...
Well, this quiet on the set thing killed my childhood.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
No.
We're not going to go into...
I'm okay.
Yeah, I'll just say this. For anyone watching who hasn't watched Quiet on Set, it is on Max. We don't have Max. But if you have Hulu Live Plus, which is what we have, it's on there.
I'm sure you can find it.
And you could watch it. Yeah, you could probably find it other places as well. It's very sad. It's a very hard watch.
It's put together well.
It's very well put together. The only thing I will say, but aside from viewer discretion is heavily fucking advised with it, at least for Hulu Live, it seems like they messed up the order from when I don't know how it happened. I don't know if they fixed it by now because we finished watching it last night. But in the Hulu order of 1, 2, 3, 4 for the episodes, 3 and 4 should be flip-flopped.
Yeah.
So it should be 1, 2, 4, 3, it seems like, from what it was set up, because when we watched 3, it, like, the ending of it was, like, ending. Like, this is the end, there's no more else to talk about. And as 4 was coming on, I looked at Dylan and I was like, what is episode 4 about? Because, like, this felt like this should have been the end.
Yeah.
And then we got into episode 3, and Dylan was like, or episode 4, and Dylan was like, this should have been the 3rd episode. Why is this the 4th one? And the way that episode 3 ended is how that way episode 4 ended is how episode 3 started. So I think they fucked it up. So if you're on Hulu Live Plus,
they booked the matches in the wrong order.
Yeah, I'll say it.
Goddamn.
I'll say it this way, just for the titles of the episode, because again, I don't know if they changed it or not. But the episode that's titled The Darkest Secret should be episode 3.
Yeah.
So if you do go and watch it, make sure that is the 3rd episode that you watch in the order. Again, I don't know what happened. If it could have just been a glitch on our end because, you know, something's up with our PS4. And it fucks up with Peacock all the time, so I won't be surprised if it somehow fucked up the order of Hulu Live.
It always crashes Peacock.
But yeah, it's a really good documentary. I really recommend watching it. It was, again, very sad, very hard to watch. They do put a disclaimer in the beginning of every episode, but I will say now have heavy trigger warnings and viewer discretion being advised for crimes against children. However, with that being said, let's go on to some more documentaries. And we'll start with talking about the Legends documentary about Scott Hall.
Say hello to the bad guy, Chico.
Which, I know, it's been 2 years.
What a wild fucking story.
Yeah, it's been 2 years since he passed away. And honestly, like, I still don't feel like it's real. Like, I still feel like when people talk about Scott Hall, like, he's still kicking, like, he's still around.
Yeah. And
he's not, and I don't know how or why that is, if it's just the way that my brain registers it, but, like, I don't know. I just always forget. And I'm like, shit, yeah, no, he's Man, gone.
What a wild fucking life.
No, seriously, when they open it up with, you know, the unfortunate accidental murder at the strip club and whatnot, and then, you know, go into, like, his wrestling career about how he hit this highest of high peak and then just probably from the PTSD more than likely
he took the low,
just ended up, like, and not even, like, he, like, fucking tanked like so fast. It's insane. But
and then DDP saved them.
Dude, and we'll get into DDP in a minute, but, like,
yeah, we caught up on the 2 most recent Legend documentaries. We have not watched Rivals yet. We're probably just gonna watch them in one fell swoop.
Yeah.
And everything, because there's one, as we're recording this, it's the Hardys and the Edge and Christian, which is kind of wild because it's a WWE program.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they did.
And they're covering that.
But yeah, no, we'll get into DDP in a little bit. But he did, yeah. Scott Hall went to go live with DDP, and he saved him for a while. But ultimately it ended up, you know, coronavirus happened, everything got shut down, and he seemingly had fallen back into his unfortunate toxic ways, and it was just one of those things where it's kind of like it was a matter of time before it caught up with them and before something happened. But like, yeah, no, that's just absolutely fucking heartbreaking, because that, to me, like, it's, and you know, I quite literally do not mean this in any sort of disrespect, but I said this to Dylan, and I was like, for anyone who is watching this and listening to this knows, which might not know, Scott Hall's story reminded me so much of a video game that I really like called Amori. And it's basically like the same premise of something traumatic happens to, spoiler alert for anyone who wants to play the game, I'm going to spoil it. In the game Amori, you accidentally kill your sister, and then you frame her passing.
Don't say the
I
word.
won't.
Yeah.
As a situation that she had done to herself, and throughout the entire game, you end up becoming a shut-in. Basically, that's how the game starts. Is you're a shut-in. You've been trapped in your house, stuck in your house for years and years and years and years, and you have to learn to love yourself, and you have to learn to forgive yourself for what had happened. And that has such like a strong parallel to Scott Hall. You know, like, this tragic thing happened on accident. He never learned to forgive himself, and it ultimately, you know, took over his life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so fucked up, and it's so fucking sad. And just from like how people were explaining him in the documentary was that like he was just a good guy. Like, he was just a good fucking guy.
Yeah.
And it was a shame that he couldn't learn to forgive himself and learn to love himself and realize how like good of a guy he was, and that almost like he felt like he deserved what he was doing to himself.
Right.
And I don't know. It's so sad. It's so fucking sad.
What a cool motherfucker.
It was the coolest motherfucker.
What a cool
The
motherfucker.
coolest motherfucker.
What did you say about the one mugshot?
Oh, that mugshot goes fucking hard. Like, I don't remember which one it was, but one of them came up and I was like, is that a fucking mugshot? And Dylan's like, yeah. And I was like, that's fucking hard, dude. That is hard as shit. That is one cool motherfucker who doesn't give two single fucks. Like,
You know who's another motherfucker doesn't give two single fucks?
Who?
These guys that are in the ring right now. Do you see who's in the ring?
Unfortunately.
That's the Midnight Express. That's Loverboy Dennis and Beautiful Bobby with James E. Cornette.
Why does he keep brushing his hair like that?
They're gonna... No, he was saying rip off his mask.
Oh, it looked like he was like swooping his hair
He was
to
saying,
the side.
He was saying rip off that motherfucker's mask.
I'm like, why the fuck is he so concerned about the way that his hair's falling?
Magnum TA saving them.
I love Magnum TA. Is that
Anyway.
a crop top?
I think it's just the way he's wearing his jacket.
I mean, come on, man. I just meant in crop top. Let's go. Let's fucking go, motherfucker. All right, let's get into the next Legends documentary, which of course is DDP.
It's me. It's DDP.
The one thing because we just finished watching this like maybe an hour ago.
Yes.
And the one thing I said to Dylan, and you can come for me on this, I really don't care too much, it's fine, but like, I was never a person that like was overly super like into DDP. I didn't not like DDP, but I wasn't like, hell yeah, I fucking love DDP. Again, a lot of it is before my time. So, you know, going back into it, I'm sure if I was alive there during the momentum, during all this hype, it would have been completely different. But watching back, it was just something where I was like, you know, I was never like the biggest like hardcore fucking fan of him. But watching this documentary and learning about who DDP is as a person, like, has now entered my list as to one of my favorite people of all fucking time.
Such a positive guy.
Such a good fucking dude. And like, when we were watching the Scott Hall documentary, I said to Dylan, because it's like the second or third fucking time, I'm like, anytime somebody is in like a terrible fucking situation, just their first instinct is to call DDP.
He saved Jake Roberts' life.
It's just always to call him and just like, go live with DDP. Like, that was just a thing of like, I'm gonna go live with DDP and get my life back on track.
Yeah.
That is so, then that in its own speaks volumes of a person before even like again, like I didn't know how deep into this went with DDP and that whole thing, but the fact that was people's like thought process says so much about a person without knowing about the person.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. And you know, his story about, you know, going against the naysayers and whatnot, being like, no, fuck you, I can do it.
Because he was a manager and he didn't start wrestling until he was like 30.
Mm-hmm. And that was like unheard of at the time. So just going against the grain and being like, no, I want to do this. I'm going to fucking do this. Fuck you guys. And making what he made out of himself is just astronomical. And then again, at the end of the day, just being a good fucking dude and just wanting to help people. Like I said to Dylan, it's crazy because you don't hear about how good some of these people really are in wrestling. You never really hear about the good people in wrestling because there's so far few between, really.
Mm-hmm.
But like, the one thing that I immediately was thinking about, like, as I was hearing people talking about him, I was like, it's the same thing with, like, it reminded me the same thing of Sting, how, like, nobody ever has anything bad to say about Sting. I guarantee you the same thing, like, nobody has anything bad to say about DDP.
Yeah.
So, like, that's, again, I might not have been the biggest fan of his wrestling. Maybe I'll go back and watch some of his stuff. But as a human being, has got to be up there with, like, my favorite fucking human beings. Like, him and McFoley, man, they're really just, I can't, like, you know what I mean, man? They're just, I can't. Like, that just makes me so fucking happy to know that these people that really have had the whole world in their fucking hands and still being down to earth, it's great. Like, I love hearing about that. Anything you specifically want to talk about with DDP?
No, he's just a really good guy.
A really cool dude.
Really cool dude.
Really cool dude.
DDP yoga. Everyone should do it. The world would be a better place.
I feel like if I was alive and able to go to clubs in the time frame that, and in, you know, Miami, was it Miami? I believe that his club was.
Yeah.
I ended up at his club. I think I would want to be friends with him. I really do. I'd be like, this guy's cool as fuck. I love him.
DDP, the Diamond Cutter.
Alright. That wraps up for the documentaries that we had watched this week. So let's get on into some of the wrestling news, which this is going so back and forth. My fucking god,
crazy.
God. I have talked about this a little bit at work. And I keep seeing new things about it, so I don't know what the fuck to even talk about with
That's why I don't even have screenshots, because it's just, like, so many.
But, so, we'll just start this with what Dylan wrote out, which is saying, according to Dave Meltzer, Tony Khan is really mad at Jack Perry for costing him CM Punk. And I don't know. Part of me is just like, this is kayfabe. Part of me is saying, everyone's working Dave. That's what's
That'd
happening.
be funny, I hope.
Like, because I'm hearing that Jack Perry, like, you know, he left All In, and then he didn't hear anything from Tony. Tony wasn't reaching out to him. So then, like, he went to New Japan, and Tony ended up getting back in contact with him, or Tony got in contact with him months later, and then he ended up in New Japan, and he's planning for a return back right now. But then I also heard that Tony Khan is still mad at him and doesn't want him back. But then I also heard that, like, Jack Perry asked for his release and it wasn't granted, so he said, fuck you guys, I'm going to New Japan. I don't know.
What I think is true, and what I would hope is true, we gotta use common sense here for one thing. So let's break this down. I hope they're working Dave.
Oh God,
that'd be the funny. That'd be the funniest shit. But obviously, I think Tony and Perry have had conversations, and we're gonna get to all of that. They've had conversations because Jack Perry wouldn't just be working New Japan under not knowing Tony. Like Tony would need to know, because even though there's a working relationship there, that is still a breach of contract.
Yeah.
So what I think has happened here is All In happened. Punk gets fired. Obviously, Perry's a part of this problem. Not as part as, like, I guess the big problem. That's we're not getting into that discourse or anything. But Punk's gone. We need to do something with Perry. Jack, you're suspended. Go home. We'll contact you in a few months or whatever, whenever we think you're ready. Tony does some thinking. Okay, we can't really bring him back. There's all this discourse. We don't know what to do. Let me talk to New Japan. Maybe we can do something there, set up something. Hey, Jack, go on an excursion like the old territory wrestlers used to do. Go on an excursion. Don't worry, I'm not going to send you to Mexico. You're going to go to New Japan and go do New Japan things, and we'll do like this whole thing. You'll come back.
I have a feeling he's coming back at Forbidden Door.
He probably is.
Like, I think Forbidden Door is when he's going to be coming back, because it's probably going to be, I can't remember the name, the faction he's in.
House of Torture.
Fucking
House of Schlubs.
Versus someone in AEW. Versus some faction in AEW.
Oh, God.
That's what I'm assuming is going to happen. And that's how Perry gets brought back. Another reason why I think all of this shit about him not coming back, or this big issue being happening, is a bunch of hubbub, is because the Young Bucks, I think specifically more so Matt, but the Young Bucks have been tagging Jack Perry in posts that they've been making.
Yeah.
And they've also been commenting on all of his stuff. And, well, a lot of people might think, listen, you're looking too far into this. No, that's what the Young Bucks do when they're trying to, like, sneak little previews in there, like, hint towards something, is they always drop little hints. Why would Matt fucking Jackson tag himself in his own photo as Jack Perry? You know what I mean? Or maybe it was Nick. It was one of the two. One of them did it. And they tagged the picture of them as Jack Perry. Like he was in the image. So, like, why would they do that? Why would they be commenting on all of his stuff? They're hinting at something. If he wasn't going to be back in AEW, they wouldn't be doing shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're poking at something. So,
also, yeah, maybe Tony is mad for Jack Perry costing him CM Punk. Maybe he's mad he had to make that decision. This happened in August.
Mm-hmm.
It is March. Why are we still talking about this?
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, like, okay, so I could see Tony being upset about the situation. Like, whatever. But, like, if he is legitimately mad at Jack Perry for causing this problem,
he could have fired Perry.
He either could have fired Perry, but also, like, I feel like if that is true, then that is such misguided anger. Because, like, yeah, did Jack Perry go out and do something stupid? Sure. I could see being upset with him over that and whatnot. But being like, well, you're forcing me to get rid of Punk now.
He's a fucking goofball.
The reason that you needed to get rid of Punk is because you didn't take into the proper precautions. You didn't do what needed to be done, and you didn't treat things how it needed to be treated.
Tony didn't grow a pair of balls and didn't have the Elite and Punk have a meeting.
When this whole thing initially happened, it could have been resolved or at least fixed to some sort of degree way sooner before the situation ever actually happened. The situation should have never happened.
The problem with AEW isn't CM Punk. The problem with AEW, and I hope someone fucking finds this podcast, this little inky dinky binky podcast with 22 subscribers or whatever that gets fucking 12 views. I hope someone finds this, and this is the quote that blows us up. Mark my words. Mark my words. CM Punk was not the problem in AEW. The Elite are not the problem in AEW. Jack Perry is not the problem in AEW. The problem in AEW is Tony Khan, and Tony Khan alone. Tony Khan is the problem for AEW. He doesn't know how to run a wrestling business. He throws godly fucking amounts of fucking money at new wrestlers coming in. Where have we seen that before? And his booking, his illogical booking. Did you know that the rankings are gone now? Again, they're gone. It's official that they are gone. They just brought them back. And now they're gone again. What?
Okay,
what
well,
no,
hold on.
one more thing too, because we'll get into this and everything. Why did we decide that we needed to do a G1 Climax type tournament, the Continental Classic? Why did we decide to do that, right? Just hear me out. For not one new belt, well, for one new belt, but let's add 2 other belts from 2 other promotions, but one of them he owns, but let's do the other one as well. But now, and let's make it a triple crown, but the person that just lost that belt only lost the Continental belt and still has the, like, how does that, I can't even form a sensible thing. Tony Khan, again, ladies and gentlemen, Tony Khan is the problem in AEW. Not CM Punk, not the Elite, not Jack Perry, not Orange Cassidy, Jon Moxley, none of that. Not the Cult of Cornette, not the drones, none of that. Tony Khan is the problem in AEW.
Okay, I agree and I disagree. And he went on for way too fucking long. But
I had to break it down.
Okay. I will say I think CM Punk was a problem in AEW. And I love Punk. So, like, this isn't me just trying to be, like, an Elite fan hater. Like, I do think Punk's ego ran wild and caused a lot of friction, a lot of problem. And I think because Punk is such a big name that it kind of, like, it held something to, like, Tony, right? So, I'm not trying to say, like, CM Punk manipulated Tony Khan. That's not what I'm trying to get at here. What I'm trying to get at here is Tony Khan signed CM Punk. He's this big name, big draw, big money type of thing. And of course, you're going to want to protect that talent that is bringing all these things in. That's doing these things that you want for your fucking company. So I feel like Tony Khan didn't handle things how he should have handled things because he, on his own volition, and under his own volition, I'll say that much, was kind of under this guise of who CM Punk is and what he can do for their company. And things got out of hand, yes, because he did it wrong, because he didn't actually take the accountability into things. However, with that being said, I feel like CM Punk still might have known this and might have been well aware of this. And I'm not trying to say CM Punk is this big mastermind.
CM Punk saw through Tony Khan's idiotic, fucking, stupid head.
But
I don't know how to put it.
But he was able to get away with shit, and he was able to kind of do things and act certain ways because he knew Tony didn't want to get rid of him. So he kind of had this, like, you know, this situation on his hands where, like, CM Punk could be doing things that are wrong that CM Punk might not even consider as wrong because his head is so inflated.
You got to take into account of how Tony handles everything, not just the whole CM Punk stuff. Let's talk about all the questions that he gets asked at press conferences. Let's talk about the Chris Jericho thing.
Hold on, I didn't even get to my point. So basically, my point in all of this really is, like, CM Punk was kind of able to go around and do what CM Punk does with little consequences, and, you know, ultimately eventually getting fired and whatnot. You know, finally the shoe drops and that happens type of thing. But because of, like, all the damage that CM Punk did and done backstage, physical damage to people, and maybe just who else knows whatever we don't know, I feel like that's what spiraled AEW into the dark ages of AEW throughout 2023, was there was all this shit going on. Shit hit the fucking fan, and they had no clue how to pick up from it. So, like, yes, I'll agree that Tony is a problem and needs help. I will always say that Tony Khan needs help giving him proper direction, because I don't think Tony Khan's a fucking idiot. I don't think he's a buffoon, and I don't think he doesn't have a good mind that works.
He's a buffoon.
Business. I think he just needs a little bit more guidance, and he needs people to kind of help him get there. But, you know, sure, you can go, okay, well, we won't be in this situation if it wasn't for Tony. And yeah, I get that. But also, nonetheless, while Tony probably should have stepped in, yes, we still have all this other shit that CM Punk, being a veteran of the business, he should be knowing better. He should be knowing better, and if he's really there to be helping the younger fucking talent, shouldn't be walking around with a big fucking ego. Like, that's all I'm fucking saying. If you're gonna sit here and try and be humble and saying, like, I'm just here to put over new people, but then you're causing all of this fucking discourse and all of this problem, and all the major problems are surrounding you, that is a fucking issue, and he is still nonetheless causing issues. Again, yeah, Tony should have stepped in nonetheless, I get that, but he shouldn't have been causing these issues to begin with. So, I don't think it's a sole, yes, Tony should be holding more of the responsibility. I agree with that. But I don't agree that it should all just be like, well, everybody else is innocent.
Well, let's talk about how Tony handled the whole Chris Jericho thing.
Yeah.
At the press scrum. That's not how you handle that.
No. No.
That's not how you handle it. Let's talk about all the times he acts like a Twitter troll.
No, that's funny. I don't care. That's funny.
In the words of Dana White, it's so unprofessional, but funny. But that's the thing. You're a fucking billionaire. Well, your father is. And that's how you... No.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I get it that, like, it's tough. Because, to me, yeah, you're a billionaire. You're the owner of the company. Sure, whatever, fine, whatnot. But, like, I don't know. A lot of the wrestlers do it, too. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not...
They do.
And I'm just saying, like, I feel like if somebody does see something online that strikes a nerve with them or is something that's against them that they feel like they should have the ability to defend themselves, I don't think that they shouldn't not be able to do it. And again, it's funny when it happens, and people want to sit at it and think, like, and say it's unprofessional and this, that, and the other thing. Sure, fine, whatever. I mean, whatever toots your own horn. I really don't care. But I don't know. To me, I don't care enough. Like, I'm like, yeah, get that fucking stupid fucking mark that's, like, being a fucking dick. Like, I don't care. That's not gonna make me not want to watch the show.
Tony just needs to learn how to handle things. Like, I'll give him credit. He went out in front of Chicago and explained why he had to do what he had to do, but I feared for my life. Come on. That's still the funniest thing. And it's still funny because a couple months later, AEW has the safest track record.
Well, I mean, hey, look, again, I will say, in fairness, of things that have happened in the past 5 years, while there has been some situations that had gone down, the company's only been around for 5 years. I'm sure, technically speaking, by incidences of companies that have been around for 50 plus years, yeah, they probably do actually have the safest track record. They probably legitimately do. It doesn't necessarily mean anything.
They have the same track record as any indie because everyone gets hurt. There's always something that someone's hurt.
I mean, I'm just saying, like
who's out right now? Miro's out with an injury. Pac just came back for an injury. Where'd Hangman go? Did he have something to do with his family?
Family stuff.
He had something to do with his family. But he was they were gonna work an injury angle into it. I know he wasn't really injured. Punk got injured many of times.
Yeah, Punk's also gotten injured in WWE.
Okay. Trying to think who else. Cody went through a flaming table.
That was Cody's own fault. That was his own fault.
Jeff Hardy just got his fucking head crushed by Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, but then Sammy Guevara got suspended.
Darby broke his foot. Adam Cole's out with an injury. MJF's out with an injury.
I'm just saying that if you didn't have a safer track record in 5 years than a company that has been around for 50 plus years, there's a really fucking big problem. Like, I mean, again, it's probably legitimately fucking true. Like, if we were to go through all the injuries and all the backstage situation...
You don't say that.
No,
after
you
don't. Months prior, you went on national television and said, I feared for my life.
No, I agree.
You don't fucking say that.
I agree.
Buffoon.
I am just quite literally saying, if we looked at history, I'm sure technically they probably do have one of the safest track records. Technically. However, yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, it's with the media scrums or press conferences or whatever, like, it's so tough because it's like, there's stuff that you don't need to say at all, always said at the worst times, but then when there is stuff you should be sitting and elaborating on, you don't, or you won't, or you can't.
Yeah.
And
I hate the whole thing of like he'll get asked a question of like, oh, why is so and so, like, why did they not re-sign and they're going to WWE? I can't answer that.
Well,
watch Dynamite this Wednesday.
I mean, see, again, like, when it comes to, like, legality stuff, it is a little tough. Because legitimately, we don't really know. I mean, now granted, you can give a better answer than just, I can't discuss that. But, I mean, you could also just say, like, I can't really go into detail about it, but, they're on a different path in their career, and that's fine. We wish them all the best, and if, the door's always open for them if they ever want to, come back. Like, you could always just say something like that. We don't need to know every single intricate detail of just like, oh, I don't know, Andrade left because every time he asked for these specific foods in catering, we never brought them to him, and he was mad that he wasn't taken seriously for his specific sandwiches. Like, I don't know. And we don't need to know any of that actual legitimate intricate detail. That is not our fucking business. But you can say a little bit more aside from just like, I'm not discussing that. Like, when the Vince McMahon shit was going on, and WWE had that press conference and whatnot, and Triple H just decides to go, well, yeah, but I'm going to focus on the positives. And it's like, not only is this not just about the company that you are working for, but this is also, like, your family. Like, this is your blood family. And you're also going to sit here and say you have no idea when your wife knew shit? Like, again, I understand not going into specific details, especially when it's something that's like a legitimate legality fucking case and whatnot. I get that. But to just say, oh, I'm going to focus on the positives. We had a great show. We made so much money. We have a Netflix deal now. Like, that's insensitive. And in that case would probably be, like, better off saying, I can't go seriously into detail about the situation going on.
At least he wasn't wearing a furry hat and sunglasses.
Yeah. But I can't go into detail about things that are going on, but we do take these situations very seriously, and, we're looking to do what we can to make WWE a safer, happier place for all, whatever. I don't know. Something fucking like that. But so, like, yeah, Tony might have looked like a fucking buffoon when he was talking about the Chris Jericho situation and answered it poorly as well. Triple H is doing the same fucking things, he's just not wearing a furry hat and sunglasses. He is still answering things poorly and, just incorrectly and insensitively. So, to say one is worse than the other is kind of tough, because in that instance, they're both bad. They're both bad. Neither of them handled it well, and I just don't think it's, like, that contrasting. I think it's extremely comparable. And it's sad. And again, I get it. If it's legal shit and you're told you can't be talking about it until further notice, then yeah, I get that you have to abide by that. But you could be handling it and wording things better. Can you hand me my coffee before we get into this next topic, which I will just recite actually if you want to start talking. After all that, we're going to go back into something that, I don't know, might also have to do with AEW, and that is that the Motor City Machine Guns TNA contracts were expired. They expired. They're up.
Yeah. Well, they're up April 1st.
They're up April 1st. And rumored that TNA isn't their main focus right now.
Yeah. I can't believe I'm saying those words of the Motor City Machine Guns are going to be leaving TNA.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it seems like. Supposedly their contracts last night was their last night or whatever. They said thank you. And Alex Shelley did the copyright thing for Motor City Machine Guns, and that usually means that they're going to go somewhere else and do stuff, and it's either going to be AEW or WWE, and it's probably going to be AEW.
So TNA is clearly on a tape delay type thing. How long until this show gets released? Do we know?
I think next week.
Oh, okay, so it's not that far out. Okay.
Yeah.
So we were supposed to go to this show. Because this was down at the ECW Arena in Philly, which is not too far from us. And we bought the tickets and everything. It was, going to be exciting to go. And then out of nowhere, my car decides to shit the fucking bed. Thank you, Ghost, for snoring. I don't know if you just caught that on
He's
audio,
sleeping.
but my cat is right next to us sleeping, and he's kind of loud when he snores. So I'm sorry if you hear that.
We knocked him out.
Yeah, he is all tuckered out right now.
He had an exciting morning.
I was driving, and my car started making this weird sound every time I was turning, and I was like, "What in the fuck is going on now?" Took it to my local garage that I always go to, and my sway bars are loose, and my sub rear panel, or sub rear frame, I think is what they said it was. My sub rear frame is rusting and has a massive hole in it, which is causing the arms to be loosened. So I need to completely replace that part of the frame and my sway arms, which is going to cost me anywhere between $600 and $800. And I don't have that money right now, so I had to book my appointment out for about a month, which meant that I cannot drive it down to Philly. Because even though it's close to us in retrospect, it is far enough of a drive that I'm not going to be taking my car this far. You know, I asked them at the garage, I was like, look, I mean, I didn't say specifically anything about, like, taking on the highway or the turnpike or whatever. It's whatever, I don't know if it's, you know, but, I was like, so I drive this car to and from work every single day. And granted, I only live 5 minutes away from my job, pretty much. I'm not very far from it at all. So it's like, so it's not like I'm driving far to work, but am I even safe driving this car? Like, and they're like, you could drive it locally, but I would really not recommend going anywhere further than where you have to go. So I'm like, God fucking damn it. And Dylan's car isn't that great either. His batteries cause some issues and whatnot, and you were having some other problems with it, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Dylan was like, we might be able to get down there with my car.
Not bad.
But I'm not sure how we're getting back. So, it turned out to be one of those things where, unfortunately, we couldn't go. However, if you do watch TNA, and if you look out when they're in Philly, if you look out to the crowd, I think we were supposed to be on the left-hand side, second row back, where the, close to where the turnbuckle is on the left-hand side, if you're watching it on TV. And you see 2 empty seats, that's where the fuck we were supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, that sucks. I don't know, hopefully someone, I don't know, maybe someone stole our seats, or whatever, to get a closer look. So I hope if someone is listening to this, and you were at that Philly show, and you saw 2 empty seats, second row, hard cam side, or like, you know, looking at the hard cam, whatever, and you were like, I want to get a closer look, you're welcome. You're welcome, and I hope you enjoyed the show. But yeah, so we were supposed to see that, basically, is what we were getting at. Is we were supposed to see the Motor City Machine Guns final match, and TNA, which is actually fucking crazy, because how long have they been there?
Man, Chris Sabin's been there since, like, almost day one.
Yeah.
And Alex Shelley came in, like, 04, 05, and they've been a team since 07.
I mean, it makes me really wonder if this has to do with the
Scott D'Amore?
The Scott D'Amore
100%.
Like, I firmly think that, like, because he's been around for also a long time.
Supposedly Bully Ray is leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, like, a big help in the TNA locker room.
So, like, it's unfortunate, but, I mean, TNA is going to see how much TNA is going to be suffering now by making that wrong decision.
TNA pulled the biggest TNA moment of all time of, you know, we're back. We got all this momentum.
Never mind.
Let's fire the mad genius.
Like, you have 3 of, I would say the most influential people there gone. Just like that.
Yep.
Like, it's, I mean, again, I think that they're going to sign in AEW.
Yeah.
I could see them definitely coming to AEW. Which, woohoo, yay for the tag division. Awesome. But that makes me feel really fucking sad for TNA.
Yep.
Like, really fucking sad. However, wherever they end up, even if it is WWE, which I will kind of be disheartened if they do, because WWE doesn't take tag team wrestling fucking seriously.
That'd be the wildest shit.
Which, I don't know, you know what, maybe if WWE did get Motor City Machine Guns, which this might be a little far-fetched of thinking, but if they did, maybe they take their fucking tag team division a little bit more fucking seriously.
Okay, let's see.
But, yeah, I think that's just some wishful thinking right there. I think that their best place to go is AEW with how important tag team wrestling is there, with a company that has been based on tag team wrestling. I think it's kind of a no-brainer, but I've been surprised and wrong before. So, excited to see where they end up. Excited to see what they end up doing. I would love to see a Jen Me Motor City's Machine Gun run back. But, you know, I would want that to happen specifically so the Bucks bring out the Jen Me gear.
That'd be wild.
I could see them doing it. I really could. And that's what I want to see. That's what I want to happen. Anyway, speaking of contracts being up and things that are happening, Matt Hardy's AEW contract is set to expire.
Yeah, I don't know if Jeff's is either or what, but
I don't know what happened with Jeff's contract.
I think he got time added to his because
I think so.
of the suspension,
Yeah.
the injury. I don't fucking know.
So, like, although I also feel like if Jeff Hardy requested a release, he would get it.
Because I'm reading Matt Hardy's contract set to expire, and then I'm also reading maybe the Hardys, as in Matt and Jeff, will show up at WrestleMania. So it's just really confusing. But anyway, the Hardys were always meant to go back to WWE. Even if they never wrestle again, they were always meant to go back and be put in the Hall of Fame. It was just bound to happen. They were just doing AEW because.
I want them to end up together and you know, like, retire together. Like, obviously it was important that Jeff came to AEW.
Things just didn't work out.
It just didn't work out how it was supposed to, and it's a tricky one, right? Because they were supposed to get the tag team championships, but with the given circumstances of Jeff, and the storyline that was going with Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Christian, it was just kind of had to end up being the Bucks at that point.
Yeah.
Who lost the belts very quickly in their first defense.
Yeah.
Immediately just dropped them. Which, you know, credit to them for doing that. But it wasn't supposed to be the Bucks. It was supposed to be the Hardys, and they were supposed to go on this, you know, final tag team run together, but then Jeff, you know, got sick again, or fell into his sickness, his demons, whatever you might want to say. And, you know, then had to come back, and then the whole fucking thing was going on. I don't know if the way that they have been booked is kind of, I hate to say it, but a consequence of the actions.
Man, they just been on Rampage mostly.
If they've even been on TV at all.
Yeah.
Because they had that little stint on Rampage, and then we're on Dynamite, and Rampage is far and few between when we catch it.
Yeah, and, like, they were doing, like, this whole thing of, like, Jeff was gonna turn heel, and I don't fucking know. Again, Tony Khan booking, I don't fucking know.
So, I don't really know what ended up happening. I don't know if maybe they do just, it's at the point where, you know, they're just like, you know what? We want to go retire in WWE. Whatever, you know, that's fine. I mean, it's tough because, like, I wanted them to do so much more in AEW, and again, it was just unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah.
You know, and I really don't fully blame, I'll blame Tony to a degree that after Jeff came back, they should have done more. Absolutely should have done more. But in the first couple of months with Jeff there, they were doing that. They were hot, they were there, and then the circumstances had happened and everything just kind of placeboed. Placeboed? No. That's not the word I'm looking for.
Plateaued.
Plateaued, thank you.
Their run from Jeff's debut from March to May when they faced the Bucks was like the run.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, and then again, I don't know if it was just one of those things where Tony was like, well, look, Jeff, I don't want you wrestling and putting yourself through, like, as much as you have, so I don't want you wrestling as much because I don't want you to fall back into this situation again.
Well, don't be booking them in fucking Extreme Rules matches on every fucking Wednesday night. A regular tag match with tag rules, Tony, doesn't fucking hurt.
What I'm just saying is, I don't know if his thought process was just like, well, if I have Jeff wrestle less, he's less likely to fall victim of his bad habits. I don't know. We don't know. We're not going to know, probably.
And it's also just the story of every person in AEW that is important. They come into the roster and they get lost because there's 946 people on that roster.
I don't really know if I fully agree with everyone.
Don't make me go through that roster page right here on this podcast and tell you who I would cut.
Dude, I'm just saying, like,
we got time to fill.
Unfortunately, I mean, nobody wants to see it keep happening. But Chris Jericho came in important, and he's still just fucking splattered on TV.
Jericho needs to get the fuck off of
No one wants Chris Jericho to be happening.
We're gonna talk about fucking Wednesday Night Jericho.
What I'm saying is Chris Jericho hasn't gotten lost in the shuffle. Jon Moxley hasn't gotten lost in the shuffle.
Well, I will give Jon Moxley the pass, even though I will complain about him bleeding, having the same matches, not being the best. He is the ace.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. He's been there since day one, technically.
Danielson hasn't gotten lost in the shuffle.
Well, Danielson also can book himself, but
that's true. But what I'm saying is, like, he came in as important, and he has been important.
I'm talking about, like, what the fuck is this whole Devil storyline was supposed to be so important. What the fuck's going on? You have the Hardys, one of the biggest drawing tag teams of the Attitude Era, the hottest era in wrestling. You don't capitalize on that. Adam Copeland comes in. Yeah, he's the TNT champion, but he was just made to be another guy.
Well, Adam Copeland's whole thing in coming in was specifically just to be feuding with Christian.
Yeah, but they just made him another guy.
I don't know if I don't know. Maybe I have a bias, and I don't feel like Adam Copeland's just another guy. Like, I feel like for me, it was crystal clear it's crystal clear what he's there for. And that's pretty much it. Like, I mean, yeah, he had his match with Garcia and everything, and, like, I'm sure throughout all of this still he's going to be working with other people here and there. But the main goal and the main storyline of Adam Copeland is Christian. Whether they inevitably end up back together and they do a tag team run and then retire together as tag teams or a tag team or whatever it might be, it is very crystal fucking clear that is what he's there for. That is what he's started with doing. And wherever this story continues on going, we'll see how it gets elevated. Will we get Christian and Copeland back together as a tag team? Probably. Will they fucking start running the fucking tag team division? Probably. I mean, look at all the fucking tag teams that are on that fucking roster that we could be getting Edge and Christian with. You know what I mean? Like, that's fucking great. That's fucking awesome.
FTR is gonna retire them.
I can very well see that happening. Hands down. So, I mean...
heard that here. Take that voice clip too, folks.
Yeah?
FTR will retire Adam Copeland and Christian.
But I don't think he's necessarily made to just be another guy right now. It feels to me like a slow burn. You know what I mean? So... We just have to kind of see how it continues.
Tony Khan fucked up the Hardys.
Yeah, I'll say that much.
Moving on.
Anyway, moving on, we're going into Raw. I have no idea what this was about, I don't think.
The Rock has little dick syndrome.
Oh, yeah, the Cody promo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. Okay, so honestly, maybe I'm dyslexic because I really thought that you typed out what you didn't. I thought you typed out The Rock has LSD. And I was like, what happened that I missed?
The Rock has little dick syndrome. The Attitude Era came back there for a minute.
Yeah.
Cody
said dick.
Cody pretty much said, fuck you, Rock. I don't give a fuck. Cody's interactions with The Rock, or just about The Rock, are better than his interactions with Roman right now.
Roman... Are we talking about SmackDown on this at all?
No, we're not.
Roman, we'll breach into a little bit about the SmackDown promo, which I was half listening to, half not listening to.
I fell asleep during it.
So, I'm going to be so fucking for real right now. Kenny was live streaming. He live streams on Fridays, in case anyone's interested. And...
Oh my god, how dare you fucking...
If you need something entertaining to watch on Fridays, Kenny's live streams on Twitch.
How dare you promote Kenny Omega's live stream while we're talking about WWF? What the fuck, Lyssie?
The WWF will reign supreme.
The Fed.
The Fed.
Do you see people get, like, really pressed on Twitter? Like, if you say the Fed, you're a fucking op. You're a bot. And it's like, why are you getting so... Like,
why are the bots calling bots out?
Like, bro, I'm going to call it the Fed because it was the World Wrestling Federation. I'll call it New York because that's what they're based out of. I'll fucking call Mid-South Louisiana because that's where they're fucking based out of. Well, let's call AEW Jacksonville. Hey, I'm going to go work for Jacksonville.
Tell Trevor I said hi.
Yeah. Like, fuck you. I'll call it the Fed if I want.
When are we going to Deli's place?
I want to.
When are we going to take a trip down to Jacksonville? Do you know how much Duval merchandise I can get?
Duval!
Do you know how much fucking Duval shit I will find down in Jacksonville, dude? I need to go down there. I've never been to Jacksonville when I've gone down to Florida. Never once in my life, at least to my knowledge, I've never been to Jacksonville. We gotta go.
Duval.
But what the fuck are we talking about? Oh, Cody's promo. Oh yeah. So SmackDown, not Raw. We'll rope back. I was watching Kenny's live stream, and it was right at the end. He was just answering some questions, and he was reiterating a story that I had never heard, which apparently a lot of people knew about this story. I didn't, so I was intrigued. So I'm trying to listen to Roman and Cody, but at the same time, Kenny's talking about a match he had with Luther when his balls came out, and I'm like, I need to know about this, because what the fuck are we talking about, and how did your balls escape your fucking trunks?
Oh, it happens.
So I need to hear this story, so I'm trying to go back and forth, and I'm just like, alright, I kind of care more about Kenny's ball story right now than I do about what the fuck's going on with Cody and Roman, so sorry about that. But I mean, I don't know, the ending was cool, I guess, with like everyone coming out and being like, ooh,
Sure.
I'm gonna get you. I don't know.
Sure.
I mean, my coworker mentioned that he thought it was cool that when they panned over to Seth, is like, obviously it was just timed well, that when they pan over to Seth, the shield chug that's in Roman's song that you hear was played the second that they showed Seth on screen. And I was like, that's pretty cool. That is well timed. I like that. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, Cody cutting a promo on Rock. I mean, Cody's always been good on the mic, so I'm not necessarily surprised about it. But yeah, him just saying shit about Rock is better than anything that Rock has been saying or doing. Anything that Roman has been saying.
Rock's been doing good. Is Roman.
No, I don't care about anything that The Rock is doing, because we're going back to the same thing about how The Rock is a time capsule.
Bro, honestly, they should have just had The Rock beat Roman at Elimination Chamber, and it should have just been Cody versus Rock for the belt. Like, imagine.
No, Cody needs to be Roman, but
no, not at this point.
The whole thing is so convoluted and messy and boring, and I've said this every single week that we're talking about this storyline. I can't wait for it to be over with. Like, WrestleMania can't come soon enough, and not because I'm excited to be watching WrestleMania. It's just quite literally because I cannot fucking wait for this fucking feud to be done.
Whoa! WrestleMania!
Whoa! There goes Cody Rhodes!
Anyway.
Let's move on to the more interesting program, Dynamite! Let's talk about AEW. And let's talk about my movie star good look Ferrari of the wrestling fucking industry. Okada is a new Continental Champion.
Yeah,
let's fucking
go. He just won the one belt out of the 3 that were supposed to be the Continental crown.
That is the least thing that I'm concerned about right now. What I am concerned about is the fact
Okada showed up 2 weeks ago.
He showed up 2 weeks ago.
Here he is.
And he already has a belt. Like,
Yeah, here he is.
I can't, man. That's fucking great. I don't. So yeah, I will agree when we were talking about the Continental crown. I'm confused because there has been times where Eddie has defended it, and it's been for everything. It's been for all 3 belts. Yeah. But this time it was only for the 1 belt. I don't know. Like, I wonder. Now, granted, Tony owns Ring of Honor, so that's within the same vein. I wonder if there's something with New Japan as to, because the New Japan Strong Championship is there, right?
Then why did you even fucking do it?
Yeah. So I'm wondering if there's maybe something where it's like New Japan, because Okada's not with New Japan anymore. They don't want him holding a belt or something or another. I don't know. But then yeah, why did we merge them all together into one just to break them back up? I don't really get it either. I mean, Eddie has a match against Mark Briscoe for the world title,
which
Ring
is
of Honor
gonna
world
lose.
title. Which Eddie's gonna lose it to Mark. But I don't know. I mean, then Eddie could probably go over to New Japan and do some stuff, and then end up losing that belt or whatever. And it's just gonna be an Eddie downfall type of thing. So, yeah, I don't know why we merged them when we're not keeping them merged. That makes not a whole hell of a lot of sense to me. But fucking Okada's already a champion, and that is fucking crazy to me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Absolutely fucking crazy to me. Good for Okada. I'm glad the Elite's got some gold with them again. And, you know, Okada's gonna be the Continental Champion, and...
The Continental Breakfast Champion.
The Continental Breakfast Champion, and, the Bucks are going to win the tag championships, and the Elite's going to be dripping in gold. And at some point when Kenny's diverticulitis is better, he's going to show up and be like, what the fuck is this shit? What is this shit? What happened? And then we'll figure out something there. And I could see it being Hangman, Kenny, and Kota versus the corporate Elite.
Sure.
So, yay! Anyway, let's move on to something that's not as exciting and is just kind of weird, and I don't understand
and
it.
was straight up the drizzling shits.
Hook versus Jericho.
Nothing Hook did.
Nothing Hook did at all.
Hook was... Well, I'm not going to... That'd be too far if I said what I was going to say. You know what I'm going to say. Hook, I'm glad you dropped Jericho on his damn neck. I'm going to say it. I don't give a fuck.
I feel like maybe, I don't know, maybe Jericho was just like, everybody wants to see me get dropped on my neck. Hook.
I'm fucking glad.
Can you do that a lot? Like,
do it again. The match was fucking garbage. I ended on a fucking roll-up after getting suplexed like 900 times.
Weird.
Jericho sucks. He's horrible. He's garbage. Get the fuck out of here.
Stay away from Hook. Jericho's not looking in the best shape again. Like, remember when Jericho was, like, fat?
We gotta keep calling him fat. So the reason why he got in shape is because he was getting sick and tired of people calling him fat. So Jericho, you're a fat piece of shit. Like, I'm helping you out. Like,
Jericho was fat and then out of nowhere just got, like, incredibly in shape.
Yeah.
Like, just ridiculously in shape, and now he's, like, definitely fallen out of that.
And no, I'm not body shaming people, so shut the fuck up.
Okay, chill the fuck out.
I know how people are gonna. Oh, he called him fat.
Chill out. I mean, look, he's not as in shape as he was prior at all.
He looks like garbage.
And he's wrestling sloppy. He's wrestling fucking sloppy.
He's garbage.
I don't know what's going on with him, but he needs to be off TV. He needs to stop.
He needs to go away.
He needs to go away.
He needs to retire. Leave those boots in the ring. Never come back.
Yeah, we need someone to retire Jericho very fucking soon.
It's not going to be Sammy.
It's not going to be Sammy.
Almost was Hook if he succeeded on, well.
That's not retiring somebody.
Yeah, well, but, I don't know.
But.
You could.
But. Stay away from Hook. Please, just for the love of God, let Hook...
Stay away from TBS television.
Let Hook do Hook things, because Hook is phenomenal. And, I don't know, give Hook a huge fucking push, because he deserves it after dealing with that fucking shit.
And, why are you the Lionheart again?
I don't know what the fuck he's doing.
Bro, the one thing that was your saving grace was your theme song. So you changed yourself to Lionheart and don't even use the theme, which, by the way, I'd rather see Lionheart Chris Jericho and him use the White Zombie theme song than see Painmaker Jericho Judas.
I want Y2J to just make an appearance one more
time. Well, that's not gonna happen.
Nope. It can. It can happen.
That's not gonna happen.
It can. We'll just call it something else. We'll just call it
I suck Chris Jericho 2J.
No, it'll be Y but spelled WHY.
Why you here 2J?
Yeah, or something. I don't know. He just gotta put on the fit really and the stupid fucking hair. That's it. It's all he's got to do, and then we could just call it something else. I don't know. When's that happening? Come on, make it, figure it out. Find a loophole. So for some. I mean, not really necessarily for some reason, because I'm happy about it, but nonetheless, going from something that is the absolute fucking drizzling shits to something that is going to probably make me shit my goddamn pants is Shibata versus Ospreay next week.
That's crazy.
Aubrey.
That's crazy. Will Ospreay versus Shibata. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
On free television.
Just cause.
Just cause.
It's we're in such a weird situation with AEW right now, where we quite literally have this written out in the format of a sandwich, where it's two, as you have written it down from the first thing to, because the last thing that we'll be talking about for Dynamite, is just these golden, delectable, beautiful, crisp pieces of bread, and then this just like dollar store deli meat. like it's just this odd sandwich of things right now of like you have this fantastic golden egg presentation of riches and glory, and then just somewhere in the card is just this cheap ass fucking deli meat that tastes like it was scraped from a human foot.
And that's the name of the episode. Dollar Store Deli
Dollar
Meat.
Store Deli Meat.
So when I promote this episode and everyone's like, why is it called Dollar Store Deli Meat? Because Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Because he looks like Dollar Store Deli Meat.
Like, it's a very weird situation of we're clearly entering that new AEW era of like we're so fucking back, but we still have those little hiccups that we're trying to iron out throughout the way.
You know, I'll take back my rude comments of calling Chris Jericho fat. I take it back. He looks like Dollar Store Deli Meat. He looks like old ham.
We could just say what Corey said about that.
He's
one
a
person.
Swedish meatball.
No, he looks like a melted ice cream cone.
Melted ice cream cone.
One of my favorite. That was about somebody who I won't name names, but we know personally who is a person who is interested in younger, under the age females. And he called him a melted ice cream cone. Just one of my favorite things.
Well, and he called him a Swedish meatball, too.
And a Swedish meatball. Corey, if you're listening, love you, miss you. Please make the trip up here at some point.
Come to one more time.
Yeah, please, just get over here. I don't care that it's a 3-hour drive. Make your fucking way down
I'll
here.
wrestle you, Corey.
No, I'll wrestle you. I think Corey and I have some unfinished business. I think me and Corey should have that type of match.
You should have a chairs match.
We should have a chairs match. I think me and Corey, if you're listening, I want a chairs match with you. I think it's well deserved. But anyway, going back, Shibata and Ospreay, gonna be fucking fantastic. Very fucking exciting. Danielson and Shibata was fucking great. And you know, the little story going into this match is Ospreay being like, you don't think that I could fill your fucking shoes? Well, dude, your shoes were non-fucking existent over in Japan. Shibata fucked me up, but I'm older now. I have, what do you say, like, I have 3 pugs or something? Like, I'm gonna fuck you up now, Danielson, and I'm gonna prove to you that I'm better than you type of thing. Anyway, it's gonna be fucking great. Fan-fucking-tastic. Very, 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 very excited for Wednesday night. Alright, going into, Manias. So, Dylan decided, without me, that it would be a fun, cool, nifty idea to go back and watch the main event of WrestleMania 1 and a match on WrestleMania 10.
So the reason why we did this is because there was no collision this week. Rampage was with Dynamite. I fell asleep during because, 3 hours is just too much.
I will put in here, super quick before we fully move over to WrestleMania 1, the street fight between Chris Willow and Sky and Julia. Great fucking street fight. Fucking awesome. Love women's street fights. Love women. Anyway, let's continue.
But anyway, I figured since WrestleMania 40 is coming up and next week's episode we'll probably be answering questions. We'll get into that at the end of the episode. But since WrestleMania 40 is coming up and everything, I decided let's take a little rewind and talk about the main event from WrestleMania 1 and a match on WrestleMania 10 because, man, why not? Fuck it, right? Let's do it.
So, the main event of Mania 1 was Hogan and Mr. T versus Piper and Mr. Wonderful.
Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful.
Which, I don't know if I enjoyed it.
It was the most 1985 wrestling match of all time.
So, I'm going to be
The match went on for the match was 15 minutes total, but the first 5 minutes was just no bumping. It was great.
I'm going to be so fucking for real. The setup with the crowd and not being able to see the crowd stresses me out. Stresses me out. I don't know why. It makes me nervous, makes me anxious. I don't like it.
They packed them in there like sardines, bro.
Dude, I didn't like it. I didn't fucking like it.
You also hated how loose the ropes were.
Well, no, I didn't hate how loose the ropes were. I was just like, damn, look at how loose those fucking ropes are.
Well, yeah, who the fuck's jumping off the top rope in 1985?
Well, apparently they did like 3 times at least.
Well, yeah, that was kind of crazy.
Didn't Snuka do a flying nothing in this? He was on top of the ropes.
Snuka was there,
and he just jumped back down.
Yeah.
That was all he did. Not all he did, but in that spot, that was what he did. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. I mean, it was fine, but like, it was just...
The crowd was fucking hot as shit.
It was, yeah. And I mean, I don't know, it just felt like a clusterfuck to me. Like, it felt like a lot was going on.
You get why, like, the whole theme of, like, the tag match they're doing at WrestleMania 40 is, like...
No.
That...
No.
It's a big tag match.
Nope.
WrestleMania 1 had a big tag match.
No. I will not fucking believe that is legitimately the reason why they're doing it.
Well, no, but...
No, they're using that as a fucking excuse. They are doing Damage Control now, and they were just like, oh, well, actually, what main evented Mania was a tag match, which was the one thing of my takeaway of just, like, it's crazy to me how WrestleMania 1, not Night 1, WrestleMania 1, the main event was a tag team match, symbolizing importance in the tag team division. And then as wrestling has just... It could be a symbol for it, is what I'm saying.
It was a tag match because they needed to get Mr. T on the card.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted Mr. T to wrestle, but Mr. T can't wrestle.
Yes.
So you stick him with Hogan against Piper and Orndorff.
Yes.
That's all. That's the reason. It wasn't because we think tag team wrestling's fucking important.
But on the largest stage possible at the time, this spectacle... This wrestling spectacle, nonetheless, still choosing this as the main event.
And they also just didn't know what they wanted to do for WrestleMania yet.
And you could say, I would argue that you could say, in later years, that could become a point of inspiration for a lot of people in tag teams and saying, well, hey, if this main evented the first ever WrestleMania, which was again this massive fucking thing at the time. Obviously still is, but like when it was, you know, like this was the big show. This was the big wrestling show. Then, hey, maybe I could do that too. And, you know, having this influx nonetheless. I would argue that. But it's just like, you know, then as the years go on, tag team wrestling gets thrown over to the wayside. And it sucks. Because like if it was enough to make you think that if it was enough to make you think it was good enough to be the main event of your first largest wrestling show ever, to any degree, no matter what it might have been, to still choose for it to be the main event, I feel like give it some sort of fucking recognition. They're gonna put Hogan in the
main event, goddammit.
Hogan still probably could have done something else. I don't know.
Well, in all reality, in my opinion, it should have just been Hogan versus Piper for the belt. Because the belt wasn't even defended.
Yeah.
Like, it should have been Hogan versus Piper, but there was, like, the whole rock and wrestling storyline and stuff. And, yeah.
I don't know. The match to me was just a mess. And sure, why not? I get it. That's fine. But now we're taking it as a spectacle for WrestleMania 40 of tag team wrestling, when tag team wrestling was quite literally so unimportant to the WWE for so fucking long. And I mean, don't get me wrong, you're allowed to change your viewpoints and now shift it into a different direction, but this just it feels like a cop-out. So, you know, it's a weird feeling. But let's go into a match that I enjoyed way fucking more.
Yes.
Way fucking more than this WrestleMania 1 match, and that was WrestleMania 10's Bret Hart versus Owen Hart.
I love it. My favorite match of all time. Literally.
An absolute fucking
and you could probably after you watched it, you probably understand why that's my favorite match of all time.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. 100% fucking get it. I mean, I've always said, like, Bret and Owen are fucking great. You know what I mean? Like,
fucking just beautiful fucking wrestling. What more can I say about Bret and Owen that hasn't been said? There's
really, like, it's hard to kind of just put all into words because, like, I mean, I feel like saying fantastic fucking match still doesn't necessarily do it justice. I feel like saying instant classic doesn't do it fucking justice. Like, it was just hands down, like, an absolute fucking phenomenal match that I feel like realistically everybody should at least have watched once in their life.
Yeah.
Like, hands down, you need to if you haven't seen this match,
go watch it. WrestleMania 10, the opening match. Just click WrestleMania 10 and just let it go because it's the opening match. Beautiful storytelling because Brett is the Royal Rumble winner. He's the co-Royal Rumble winner with Lex Luger. Lex Luger gets first dibs at Yokozuna. Bret Hart faces the winner of that match, which ends up being Yokozuna. But Bret, I don't want. I'll give it away. But Bret loses this match, and that kind of stacks the odds against Bret Hart going into the main event, and it gives Owen the big win that Owen needed at that time, because this was like Owen's coming out party of like he's not just the little brother of Bret Hart. He is fucking Owen Hart.
Yeah. No, absolutely phenomenal. I think this is the first time I've ever seen this match. I could be wrong.
It's a great fucking match.
Again, my memory is not what it used to be, so it's very possible I have seen this match before and I just completely fucking forget. But, yeah, no, if you haven't watched it, absolutely needs to be a match that you've watched once in your fucking life. Because it is, from start to finish, fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Like, picture fucking perfect. And the fact that this was, like, so... what's the word I'm looking for? Like Vince didn't want this to happen.
Brothers don't fight.
Fucking idiot. Also, side note, I hate Vince on commentary. He is terrible. Terrible on... I don't know if that's a popular opinion, an unpopular opinion.
It's a popular opinion of he's not good.
No, he's fucking...
Which, yeah, he's not good, but...
I swear to God, at least, like, every, 2 minutes, he was just saying, what a match.
What a maneuver.
Like what the fuck? Shut up. Shut up, Vince.
What a maneuver.
Hate him. But yeah, I think that's really all I got to say about it. I mean, anything else you want to talk about with Bret Hart and Owen?
It's a beautiful match.
Beautiful man.
Beautiful, great. Fucking, I just love wrestling, bro. Goddamn, I miss those days of wrestling. When can we do it again?
You weren't alive.
I know, I wish I was. Because I would have been a fucking mark.
You still are.
I'm a fucking mark.
Anything else you want to talk about or say that has come to mind before we go into the Wrestler of the Week?
No, I'm just putting on World Class Championship Wrestling now.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to take us into this week's Wrestler of the Week.
Yeah, all of this takes us right into... Well, me watching World Class Wrestling takes us right into this next wrestler. Yep.
Takes us right into it, I guess. Well, I don't know. If you have nothing else to say, then we're just going to go into it. So, I have picked Will Ospreay for the Wrestler of the Week. Mainly because last time I was host, I was debating between talking about Kenny Omega or Will Ospreay. And I ended up running with Kenny because of, there was when I was pissed a bunch of people off on Twitter. And I was like, fuck it. I just want to keep talking about Kenny. So I ended up going with Kenny. But this week now, we're going to go with Ospreay. So, Dylan, give me some questions because my relationship and thoughts with Ospreay are very similar to that of, well, I guess kind of similar enough to Danielson's, where I'll need a little bit of guidance here, really.
So
it's a complicated history.
When did Will Ospreay catch your eye and your attention? Like, when's the first time you remember seeing Will Ospreay?
Oh, God.
Or hearing about Will Ospreay?
I mean, I remember hearing about him, and, I think more so when I first, heard about him and, got any sort of, knownness of him, was just when I first really started getting more into, wrestling Twitter. Yeah. When I finally got onto my side of wrestling Twitter and I finally started gathering an algorithm is when, clips of him would pop up or people would talk about his name and this, that, and the other thing. He was over in New Japan. And, I remember hearing about him and seeing certain stuff about him, but never really, exploring Ospreay. I feel like I actually don't even remember the first match I saw Ospreay. I feel like it was it a Forbidden Door? When was his first appearance in AEW?
Forbidden Door against Orange.
It might have been that then.
Really?
I don't know if it's possible, like, I caught some stuff from him from New Japan prior to, but I don't really remember much. Like, I don't really remember if it specifically was or anything like that. I think I remember finally first seeing him in AEW. And I remember being like, oh shit, this guy's pretty good. And then I just I thought he was good and I liked him. But then I started, like, not liking him. Like, I had, like, this weird love-hate relationship with Will Ospreay for the longest time. Now I love him. But I was like, he's really good in the ring, but I want to punch him. And, like, it was just, like, the way he, like, conducts himself and, like, presented himself. And, I mean, I'm sure, like, that's, you know, that's what he's supposed to be doing, so it worked. But I'm like, he has a punchable fucking face. Like, I can't stand looking at him. I can't stand listening to him fucking talk. Like, if he just never opened his mouth, or, like, I would be, or I had to look at his face, like, and I could just watch him wrestle without looking at him, like, looking at that fucking face, I'd be, like, all for it. But, like, something about him just drove me up a fucking wall for the longest time. And I was like, I really don't know if I like him. I really don't. But now as time has gone on, and I've seen more of him, and I've kind of become more accustomed to him. I mean, he still does have a punchable face, I'm not gonna lie. But it's like a lovable punchable face now, where it's like, I love you so much, but I just kind of want to shake you type of thing. So, like, now I've grown to appreciate and love Ospreay. But it was like a weird first, like, kind of feelings about him. You know what I mean? I don't really know how else to explain that.
Why do you like Will Ospreay?
Oh, he does flippy fun stuff, and he says cunt a lot. Like, as I've grown to, aside from just his wrestling style, because his wrestling style is absolutely phenomenal in every single fucking thing that I look for in a wrestler. So, I mean, you know, that's kind of a given. But as I've listened to him more, as I've watched him more, and as I've kind of gotten an idea as to who the character is of Will Ospreay, I was just like, okay, yeah, like, I get this now. Because, like, he's funny. He's so, like, I feel like even unintentionally funny. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's Ospreay. That's some classic Will Ospreay right there type of jab. And I don't know. Like, again, yeah, like, of course his wrestling style. That dude can do flip-flops and turns and whatever as much as he fucking wants, and I will be here for it the entire goddamn time. But, yeah, no, I also just think he's very, very funny.
Oh, jeez. What's your favorite, like, Will Ospreay match?
Kenny and Ospreay, Wrestle Kingdom 17.
I kind of figured.
That's,
you have another one?
I mean, look, I know it was recent, but I'm honestly, him and Takeshita was just fucking phenomenal. Good. Absolutely phenomenal. Like, and the thing is, again, like, I've known since the second we saw Takeshita at that AEW show, I think, what was it, Philly?
When we first saw him? Oh, yeah, when he was doing Dark.
When he was on Dark.
Yeah.
And he came out, and I was like, who the fuck's this guy? Who is this guy? And then he started wrestling, and I was like, oh my god, he's it. Yeah. He's him. This guy is a star.
Yeah.
Like, hands fucking down. And I've known since the first time I've ever laid eyes on fucking Takeshita that he's a fantastic wrestler and gonna be doing great things. And then he got roped into the Callis family. And it just felt like, for the longest time, feels like he's not living up to his potential. Because he's so fucking good. And then as soon as he had that match with Ospreay, I'm like, that's fucking it. Like, he's back. Like, that is the fucking Takeshita that we've all been fucking waiting for again. And Ospreay brought it back out. And again, just an absolute fucking barn burner of a match. fan-fucking-tastic. And I mean, Takeshi's been in the ring with so many people, and of course, he always does a good fucking job, but, like, I feel like Takeshita and Ospreay are on a similar level. Like, I mean, I think Ospreay might be a little bit higher up than Takeshita, but I feel like they're on an incredibly fucking similar level, that when you put Takeshita with somebody in that same pace, like, you can have another Will Ospreay, another Kenny Omega, another Kota Ibushi. Like, you can have another one of these great fucking stars that did, I mean, Takeshi did amazing in DDT.
Yeah.
But, like, these stars that revolutionized themselves in fucking Japan and then coming over to the States, and you could be doing that in the fucking States. If you put people with Takeshita that are going to highlight all of his abilities, and Will Ospreay fucking did that, and I'm so fucking happy that he was put in there with him to showcase that and to remind everybody how good of a fucking wrestler he is. And I feel like you could say the same thing with Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher, a fucking fantastic fucking wrestler. And I mean, him and Ospreay have known each other for years. Lived together. Basically brothers. Like, so of course they're gonna have a good fucking match together. But again, like, Kyle Fletcher being lost in with the Callis family, Ospreay was there to remind everybody who the fuck Fletcher is and what the fuck he's capable of. And to not only have somebody that is just a great wrestler in the ring on their own, but in quick succession with two people that, again, fantastic talents, but might have gotten lost in the weird AEW dollar store deli meat section, that, you know, got lost there for a second. To have somebody like Ospreay on that level showcase the absolute talent of these people and reignite that to the fans is so fucking important. It is so incredibly important because, again, AEW has so much good talent already on the rosters that might not have the Will Ospreay name, the Mercedes Moné name, the Jericho name, like, that might not have those well-established names already, that are looking for something to highlight them or show people who they really are and what they can be. And I feel like people like Ospreay are the best types of people to be doing that, because they have the well-established name, but they're not Jericho, where they can't fucking do a fucking headlock takeover anymore. They still have their wits about them. They are still at their peak, on their fucking A game. I know Kenny's getting up there and he's having some health problems, but Kenny still brings out the best in people. Like, you cannot have a bad match with Kenny Omega. And if you do, well, you're fucking up. And I feel like that's the same way with Ospreay. Like, if you have a bad match with Ospreay, you probably fuck something up somewhere. So, it's so important to have these people with these younger talents who might not realistically be that much younger than them, but younger in the business nonetheless, to really help elevate them. And who, again, are still people that are going to shine on their own, that aren't just going to be the Jericho that people are waiting to get off their screen. Like, we still want more Ospreay. We're always going to be wanting more Ospreay. But fuck, I also want to see Fletcher and Takeshita. I want them to shine. I want to keep seeing what they can fucking do now. And I don't know. I think he's going to be an absolute phenomenal asset to that locker room with just the few things he has done in these past couple of fucking weeks. And he's going to have a 5-star match with Shibata, and then he's going to go on and have like a 5-star match with Danielson. And it's going to become overwhelming. No one's going to be able to touch Ospreay on the star system.
Yeah. They should put the belt on him.
Wembley. Mm-hmm. August isn't far.
But anyway.
Any other questions you got for me? How do you feel about Ospreay? Why don't you talk to me about some Ospreay stuff?
Well, Ospreay's probably one of my favorite, like, current wrestlers right now.
Yeah? That's kind of surprising.
He's Hayabusa.
That's not surprising.
He's Hayabusa. If Hayabusa was still here he is.
Yeah.
If Dynamite Kid was still here he is. Like, I enjoy Will Ospreay. I always have.
What's your favorite Ospreay match?
Him versus Ricochet, when they do the whole fucking wild ass sequence in the beginning.
That's fair.
I know it's such a basic fucking match, but it's just so good. It's so him versus Gunther from PWG was also really good, and him versus Rey Mysterio, which I think happened in WCPW, What Culture Pro Wrestling, I think it was. That match did happen, and that was a good match too. I like Ospreay. I always fucked with Ospreay. That's pretty much
You don't got nothing else to say about him.
No, I just
what do you want to see from him in AEW? Because I feel like I kind of explained that.
Him to win the belt.
Well, what else?
Him to win the belt.
What else?
Be the face of AEW.
I mean, he's already getting there.
Him to win the belt.
He's been there for like 3 weeks.
He needs to win the belt.
You know, someone mentioned on Twitter about how Okada had like this sentimental goodbye from Will Ospreay in New Japan when Ospreay was leaving. Like this big old like, you know, I'm gonna miss you, buddy,
and
type of thing. And then just showed up a week later.
And they're here.
Just showed back up a week. Like, what was the point of that, buddy? What the fuck was that
did
for?
You see like Naito said something about Okada leaving, being like, why all the tears?
I think it was Naito.
Yeah,
I think that's what it was.
like,
I think it was someone that reshared like the interview from him. He's like, why did you cry when you just saw him a week later?
Yeah, like why all the tears? I don't understand like the whole like, oh my god, I'm leaving New Japan. And then it's like, see ya, Forbidden Door.
I mean, Okada's just got to be a little bit of a drama queen. Come on.
Yeah. I just don't understand it, but Will Ospreay, since Okada is the Continental Champion, I think Will Ospreay should be the AEW Champion, and we will live happily ever after, and AEW would be not so much in the mud. So anyway, I think that wraps up everything.
But I will just say one more thing, that I need Swerve to win the belt, so we get Swerve and Ospreay for the belt at All In.
Yes.
That's what I want. So I don't know how it's going to happen, when it's, like, what or where or whenever, but Swerve needs to get that belt, Swerve needs to have a solid fucking run, and then he needs to drop it to Ospreay at All In.
Yes.
Hands down. But yeah, I think that is about everything for today.
Yeah, we're gonna... Next week's episode might be like a chill episode, because probably the next episode after that will be the crazy hectic episodes of WrestleMania weekend festivities. So
I'm gonna be destroyed that whole week.
Next week we'll probably we're gonna do questions. We're gonna answer questions. So all week, Lyssie and I, and this is also a responsibility for you because you're the one that runs the Instagram. Just put up a thing on the story, like, ask us questions. So,
okay.
Wrestling-related questions, we'll be posting them. You guys, when you guys are hearing this episode, feel free to post questions here. We'll try to get to as many as possible. We'll do the typical, see what's on Raw, SmackDown, AEW, all that shit. But we're going to try to answer questions. We're going to try to have a chill episode before the hectic episode goes into it next week, because... Man, we're gonna have a lot to review for WrestleMania weekend. We're gonna have Raw, SmackDown, the Royal Rumble, the Hall of Fame, WrestleMania, GCW. We're gonna have so much, so it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be wild. But yeah, Lyssie, where can you find all of us?
Well, if you want to follow the podcast on the internet, on a website that is not YouTube, you could find us on Instagram, which is Talkin Wrasslin Pod. That's TALKIN _WRASSLIN _POD. I'll try my best to put up a questionnaire soon after this episode goes live. So, I mean, if you want to leave questions in the comments below, please do. You are more than welcome to. However, if you want to go over onto the Instagram, you could leave a question on the story. I'm not going to be answering them via Instagram stories, so I'm just going to have them collectively there and probably screenshot them or something.
Yeah, that's what I usually do.
So that way we can go through and answer the questions then. If you want to find me on other social media platforms that is not here, you can feel free to follow me on my Twitter and my Instagram at the same handle, which is Lungtar. That is LUNG_TAR. On Instagram, I will sometimes post selfies, and I more so post my artwork. But I do post like sparingly. I more so post on my stories, which is usually flooded with wrestling stuff, shoes, artwork, all that fun type of shit. And then over on my Twitter, I post way more about wrestling. A lot of it is typically about the Elite, the Young Bucks, Kenny, all that fun fucking shit. And I'll post my artwork over there too, and some memes and whatnot. So, it's a fun time over there. So please feel free to go follow me on either of those places. And if you want to follow me on TikTok, which I gotta get back to posting more on, you can find me at Lung Bucks. That is LUNG_BUCKS. It is a pun on the Lung Bucks, or on the Young Bucks. The Lung Bucks is the Young Bucks, because I love the Young Bucks. So, it's always got to be a joke. Anyway, Dylan, if these people want to follow you someplace, God bless their soul, but where can they find them? You
could find me on Instagram. Some guy is just straight up smoking a cigar right in the front row. I love wrestling. Anyway, you can find me on Instagram at Danny, DANI _line, Valo, VALO _line. Who gives a fuck about Twitter? It's boring over there.
Boring on your side.
It really is. I don't really do much on Twitter anymore. But yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. You can also go back to the recent episode, the episode before this episode of the podcast, where in the link in the bio is the link to my YouTube channel, Danny Vallo Presents One More Time. You can keep an eye out for One More Time, a wrestling reunion show that we are slowly but surely, things are coming into place and whatnot. There's a bunch of promos, there's a bunch of build-ups to matches. I got a few more people involved.
Don't look at me when you say the word promos.
Promos.
Because I understand what I have to be working on right now.
Lyssie is the editor to all
Dylan
of this.
has me editing like a 12-minute long thing.
Well, there's this whole thing that needs to be... I can't wait for people to see this.
Yeah, I'm not going into detail specifically, but...
this, in my opinion, is like... Even though Lyssie's editing it, like, this is also Lyssie's masterpiece because she's picking out the stuff and everything, but, like, this was my brainchild and everything. Like, this show alone is, like, my, like, fucking painting, I guess. Like, my masterpiece.
Don't say that. I have to start a painting, too.
But this video that I have planned for, like, the whole thing for it is, like, a masterpiece of its own of, like, I can't wait to see this be done. And I can't wait for, like, the world to see this because it's really fucking cool.
Yeah, and Dylan's like, you gotta finish it. And I'm like, dog, I know. You asked me to edit something that is at least 12 minutes long.
But keep an eye out for all of that. We have a date. We just haven't announced the date yet. I don't even know if we're going to announce the date, to be honest with you, until we're probably going to film it and then announce the date. Because, like, it's not going to be uploaded.
Yeah.
Like, right then and there. It's going to take time to upload. But I can't wait. Even though it's just a backyard wrestling show, like, I can't wait to see this show happen because the stuff that we have planned is going to be pretty cool and pretty special. And if you know people from the Keystone Wrestling Alliance and Destruction Championship Wrestling, if you know how special both of those companies were to all of these people. And it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be sad.
It's going to be sad.
But, is what it is type of thing. So
Dylan's the one that's making everyone sad because it was Dylan's fucking idea to be like, let's do this fucking show.
You wrote me into it.
Yep.
You wrote me the fuck into it.
Hey, I'm just happy I got other people.
Yeah, that's fair. But anyway, I guess that's everything for this episode.
Yes.
So, anyway, thank you guys for listening, watching, however you choose to view our content. And next week, again, send in some questions. We'll give you some answers.
Wrestling-related questions.
No, you know what? Mainly wrestling-related, but if you got any fun questions also, I'll take some fun questions.
I just don't want to answer, like, how many tattoos you got?
Don't ask something like that. But, I mean, I don't know. If there's like, any questions that you might have that you think would be fun to hear our answers to?
Why does Dylan have a strong fucking hate for Tony Khan?
Yeah, what's Dylan's fucking problem? If that's one of your questions, I'll gladly answer it. But yeah, send in some questions and whatever, and we'll answer them. I'll tell you all about my favorite mac and cheese if you want to hear about it, and if not, well then I don't know what else to tell you. You're missing out big time.
Also, check out. We can start talking about this even more now. Check out Newburgh Underground Wrestling.
Oh yeah.
We can start talking about this because the whole big storyline that Lyssie is involved in is coming to life now and everything. The beginning stages. They just put up the pre-show to the Roulette Rumble, which I make an appearance on, cutting a promo. This, mind you, this is from 2 years ago, 2022. Yeah. So it was Dilvon, the Sunset Strip Stallion. Dilvon, a lot of people love that gimmick. But it's Lyssie doesn't make an appearance yet, but it's me cutting a promo. I'm announcing myself in the Roulette Rumble, and I actually got word from Navon McDonald himself because I texted him saying I loved the editing you did on the promo and everything. And next Saturday, so this upcoming Saturday coming up will be the Roulette Rumble. I make an appearance in the Rumble.
Yeah, you're gonna be able to tell how old the videos are because when I make an appearance, my hair was short.
Yeah,
my hair was fucking short.
Yeah, you weren't at the Rumble.
No, I wasn't at the Rumble.
You weren't at the Rumble. But it's a straight up Rumble. 30 guys. We do it. I'm not going to say when I come in or how long I'm in there, but we start building to something.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely check out NUW. Again, great people, good guys, good friends, everything like that. Fun wrestling.
This is one of my favorite wrestling runs I've had.
Yeah.
In NUW alone, too. And it was like a straight up... It was a straight up old school territory style feud of like I came in, all of this whole feud plays out over a couple of months, and then after the feud ends, I kind of just left.
Yeah. And
just did my own thing and came back and dislocated my elbow, but that's okay.
But yeah, so check out NUW. Let us know what you think about it, and also if you take a look at it and you watch it and you have any questions for us that we're able to answer, then feel free to send them in. If you have any questions about even just backyard wrestling days and stuff, I'm sure Dylan would be more than happy to answer it, and I'll answer to the best of my ability from my involvement.
I hate every match I was in.
Okay, well, anyway. And if you want to know our favorite macaroni and cheeses, well, ask us the question and we'll answer it.
It's bacon.
What?
It's bacon mac and cheese.
I'm talking like brands. Like, are you a Velveeta guy? Are you a
no,
you can't answer it because we have to have someone ask it first.
That doesn't matter to me.
We have to have someone ask it first. So don't give the answer away because then they're not gonna want to ask. So
I hope someone asks now.
With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. We will catch you on the next one. Goodbye.